Hello, and welcome to another edition of what I like to refer to as the Baseball Blue Book Bullet Point. Today, we are going to cover kind of the unfurling of information with regard to baseball recruiting. What's real? What's old? What's antiquated? What should we be looking for? It is showcase season. It's coming up with the final tournaments of the summer season. And we're starting to get into that football time of the year. And I know a lot of parents are always wondering, what if my student athlete is a soccer or football or fall sport participant and not able to continue playing fall baseball? Are they missing out? Is he missing out? We're going to cover a lot of that today. First, I want to encourage any parent or student athlete. First of all, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. And I am asking you passionately as I am able to, please help spread the word with regard to other baseball families, other baseball student athletes, people that you feel may be able to benefit from the information that I'm able to share here on the channel. I really am going to ramp up as we're getting into the fall. When I say into the fall, we're getting into August soon, and we're going to begin to start the college process with regard to the rising seniors. A lot of the rising juniors are going to hope to be recruited. And I really want to be able to disseminate and get out information that I hope is able to benefit families and student athletes as they go through this process. So please, if you're not a subscriber, just take a second, boom, hit that subscribe button. Also, hit the notification button. It allows you as a subscriber to know when new information has been put out. And also comment, comment, comment. I like to engage. I like to answer questions. Doesn't matter whether you don't like the material, you like the material, you have a question that you'd like me to answer, please, by commenting, it helps build energy within the channel, and it's going to help meet our goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. College recruiting, college baseball recruiting. How do we decipher the transfer portal, all of the new dates and parameters that people are talking about? Is there going to be a hard cap on rosters? We're going to cover all that today. I want you to stay till the end, because at the end, I'm going to cover that topic of the legislation that was passed, yet to be implemented, and what that's going to mean for student athletes in the 2026, 2027 classes with regard to baseball recruiting. I just spent the week with approximately 80 head college coaches at the showball events in Boston, Mass. Largely the Ivy League coaches, the Patriot League coaches, the NESCAC coaches, Mick Ioki from Richmond, Todd over at Boston College, a few other colleges as well. And I had a chance to kind of pick their brains, get an idea of what was going on with regard to their recruiting processes. So I thought we would take some time today to kind of break it all down. The biggest and the first topic that I want to cover is almost to each head coach. They are looking specifically for those student athletes at these events that stick out first and foremost physically, and then kind of a 1B or 1A, however we're going to look at that, is athleticism. Let's start with physicality. So I use this word ad nauseum. I say it in practically every video. But when I was observing at this current event at Tufts University, I can definitively say that 90 to 95% of the athletes that were there were not at the physicality that coaches are going to look at. And that means body size, body shape, body speed, the athleticism component, the foot speed. And so that's a natural kind of, okay, you're not quite ready yet, dynamic to college recruiting. The other dynamic that kind of ties into that is all of these coaches are also at a much different pace. And so parents, this is kind of like we're all chasing the old narrative and we're all running full speed. And what we don't see ahead is that wall. the wall is essentially the pace of everything slowing down. So everybody that's in the back is ultimately going to become that accordion, and we're all going to run into each other in this wall of false expectation. College coaches, even if you're a student athlete, is a rising junior this coming August 1st, the pace is slowing down. They're wanting to get a longer, much more thorough look at student athletes. There's a kind of a couple reasons for that. One, they do not want athletes showing up and then running to the portal. So they want to kind of get this process right. And the next part of this is fairly simple to understand. They now have the time to kind of watch your student athlete develop. They take a snapshot at an event, they see the body, they see the skill. Then maybe come next spring, the athlete reemerges from the winter, and then they see, has there been any progress? Has there been any development? So physicality, can't stress this enough. If we're talking about student athletes that are currently, completed their freshman year going into their sophomore year, and more importantly, the completed sophomore year going into the junior fall and even senior fall, they want to see these athletes spend time in the weight room, at the dinner table, getting that caloric intake, getting the sleep component, hydration, nutrition, etc. That has to be first and foremost on every single student athlete's list of priorities. That has to be number one. I can't emphasize this enough. The portal is not new. This is not something that we all should be shocked at. The numbers are different because of the time limits that have been reallocated, allowing student athletes 2 to 3 times a year to enter the portal. And so what's happening is we have high school athletes readily competing with college athletes that are older and more physically mature. So that's number one. Number two, skill. I just want to really spend some time on this. I tend to race past this, but I want to take the time to let athletes and, more importantly, parents understand skill set development. It has to be number two behind the strength component with regard to things to work on in the fall as well as in your off season, your conventional off season. Now, even if you're a multi-sport athlete and you're playing other sports, you can find time to get some repetitions in, to develop footwork, to develop glove to hand transfer, to develop eye hand coordination, to develop ball strike capabilities, fastball location. Those types of things you can do on your own. You can do them the old fashioned way in your backyard, out at the school field, at a sand lot. You can do it with friends, you can do it with other teammates. But we have to spend really in the fall less time trying to chase games and more time for skill set development. However, you deem that to be your particular preference, I encourage you to incorporate this along with your strength training. Now, this final one with regard to the decoding of the recruiting process, college coaches want to hear directly from the student athlete. More and more coaches are talking about the interaction with the parents, which is part of the process. I get it. But student athletes have to have an understanding of the schools that they would like to apply to and the reasons why that school fits for that particular student athlete. Baseball is the same at every single school. In other words, 60 foot 6 inches, 90-foot base paths. The dimensions are fairly similar, 310 to 330 down each line, 380 to 400 to dead center field, 60 feet 6 inches, etc. But there has to be a certain level of information gathering, due diligence that's being done on these college programs. And I want to tell you, there is a clear separation coming between the professional division, my words, I don't know what the official title will be, and the the mid-major division or the Olympic division. There is a clear, thorough change coming. On that topic, I would like to let parents know a few things that will change with recruiting. In the professional division, I believe there will be a hard cap number, meaning right now that number is currently 40 student athletes on a roster, 32 of which can be scholarshiped, and 8 are held open for walk-ons and possible transfers. But I believe there's going to be a reduction from that 40 to 35. Now, this really will affect the fall rosters, where you will no longer at these higher levels of Division One be able to carry 50 or 60 student athletes and kind of find your way to that 40, that hard 40 before the start of spring roster needs to be turned in. And so the reason for that is the professional division will be compensating anywhere from 27 to as many as 35. All athletes will be on full scholarship. There will be a stipend, a lot more to that story to come. The mid-majors, they may move off of 11.7. They may go up to as high as 15. I do think we're going to see the Omaha division or the professional division, and then I think we're going to see the mid-majors have their own 1A college baseball division. But at the end of the day, the narrative of trying to play a lot of games early and all the way through the fall, I think it's going to become antiquated to some degree, meaning you're going to have your high school season, you'll have your summer season. I do believe you're going to see leagues such as American Legion begin to build back and flourish, largely because the college coaches really like to see athletes competing with both younger athletes, older athletes, because that is what college athletics, high school athletics, and the model of 15U, 16U, 17U, et cetera, college coaches aren't really too thrilled with that. They really want to begin to see athletes competing for something meaningful at a state level, regional level, and obviously at a national level. I believe in the next year or two, you're going to see the junior division of American Legion, as well as the older senior division of American Legion. I think you're going to see that will build, and I think we will see a travel type of model that will begin to have multiple age groups, and they will have a regional kind of core development as well as a national tournament for multiple age groups. I think that's coming. So the key takeaways here for college recruiting: do not chase the paths that have been taken in the past. Focus on choosing the path that you feel suits what your student athlete is looking for geographically, number one, academically, number two, and athletically, number three. And allow the athlete to begin to interact and meet other student athletes at that school, get to know the coaching staff, get to know what the campus is like, etc. I can tell you that the legislation that was passed in this spring of 2024, which was kind of the settlement with regard to antitrust and things of that nature, and the agreement to be paying and providing income for student athletes, that is going to have a substantial change with regard to college athletics across all sports. There'll be minimum athletic budgets. Let's use a number like 100 million. All athletes will be compensated. All athletes will receive a stipend, full scholarship, etc. But there's no possible way to continue the David versus Goliath component to college baseball. At least I don't foresee that allowed to happen, because we're looking at the bigger divisions are kind of using the mid-majors and the lower levels at the NCAA as minor league system. And on that topic, the number one takeaway that I would like all parents and student athletes to take from this video: you must begin to look at schools that want you as a student athlete or want your student athlete. I think it's great for student athletes to aspire and want to go to certain schools. I think that's part of the recruiting process. But if you take a step back. And this is what I really want parents and student athletes to take away. I want you to widen your lens, step back, and don't be so centric to Division One, SEC, ACC. That lens is really, really microscopic and it's small. Step back and look at college as an experience, as a collective experience, and then make baseball a part of that experience. Meaning, if you as a parent or you as a student athlete are being recruited, or people are contacting you from NCAA Division II schools or NCAA Division III schools or NAIA programs, I think that they offer wonderful opportunities to have a memorable, enjoyable, competitive college baseball experience. As far as junior colleges are concerned, the draft this is the time of year for the major league draft. I just want you to understand that a lot of Division One athletes that go to schools and get into the portal, they find their way back into the JUCO process. A lot of elite athletes that are baseball focused or baseball centric out of high school, they find their way to JUCOs. They're very kind of driven by the draft and Major League Baseball, but that only applies really to a very, very small percentage, but that's what Division One JUCO baseball, LSU Eunice, Blinn, San Jacinto, Chipola, Indian River, etc. Those programs are absolutely loaded to the gills with elite baseball talent. I really want parents to widen that lens and let's start to take a look at college as a one big experience, with baseball playing a role but not being the central driver to a particular college. I think college coaches now are hoping that parents and student athletes slow their processes down, develop their bodies, develop their skill, and then allow that summer between their junior and senior fall to kind of be the entry point into college baseball. Are there exceptions? Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of ultra talented young men that either reclassed earlier in their school process, or they just have their skill sets are just gifted and very, very pronounced earlier in the process. But you cannot possibly put your student athlete into that kind of stream, because it's the exception. It's certainly not the rule. The time to really begin to get aggressive or energetic with the college recruiting process is kind of towards the latter half of your junior year, heading into that summer, going into your rising senior fall. Begin to contact. And we're going to talk a little bit about constructing emails to college coaches, what to put in there, what to write, etc. But the number one takeaway from this video: take your time, work on strength, get at it, learn, find a great strength trainer. Tommy Moffitt, Eric Cressy, Mike Reinhold, Ben Fairchild, they're everywhere. They're all across the country. Get a movement screen, get a baseball-specific strength program. Make that a part of your daily, weekly process. Attention to nutrition and sleep, 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 growth, strength, skill. Make that the pathway to college. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please share the video on your Facebook pages, on your Twitter pages, what have you. I'm really going to have a lot of this discussion over the next several months in the fall with college coaches, so that you'll be able to gather some insight and information directly from the college coaches. Leave your comments below. Make sure you're sharing all of the content that you find is informative enough, and share it with your baseball families and friends. And I look forward to talking with you next time.